Hi, my name is Emily Nelson. I'm in History 1302, and this is my final project on the movie Downfall 2004. So, the movie Downfall is set in Germany during World War II, and it covers Hitler's last week alive from the point of view of his secretary, Traudl. The central historical thesis of the movie Downfall 2004 is to show the audience how much Hitler influenced those around him. Everyone in the movie was capable of having their own opinions and views, but because of the way they idolized Hitler and his actions, they based their beliefs on him, turning him into a god. Traudl, Hitler's secretary, had many chances to find out what was actually going on and realize the depth behind Hitler's actions. But she chose not to because he was the one person she had to look up to, and we continuously see that throughout the movie. As the story progresses, we see just how much these people were placing Hitler on a pedestal. Why is this? Why would people love a murderer who had no remorse for their crimes? But that's just the point of this movie. The people knew what Hitler was doing and what he was capable of, but they still chose to idolize him. This is because the amount of hope Hitler gave them. Even in the darkest times of the war, Hitler made sure his followers weren't doubting and supplied them with hope that they could win this war. Downfall was filmed in Germany during 2004. A time period in which Germany was going through lots of economic reform to further fix damages from World War II. This would have affected the writers of Downfall's point of view a lot. The filmmakers most likely saw these reforms taking place and wanted to show that the economic effects were not only a thing Hitler caused, he also caused deaths, mental trauma, and to his closest friends, he affected their opinions and views heavily. It is normal to affect your friends' views, but what Hitler did was manipulation. He caused those around them to doubt what they were believing and choose to follow what he had to say. The filmmakers were also heavily influenced to make this film because their parents would have been alive during World War II, and most likely they told their children stories and what it was like to live during this time, which most likely influenced the filmmakers to want to maybe continue what their parents had been through and really talk about who started this all. As I was watching the movie Downfall 2004, I was confused as to why Hitler was so suicidal during his last week alive. Traudl continues to overhear several times throughout the film Hitler's plans to kill himself, and he even gave her a poison pill when she asked so she could kill herself as well. As the movie continued, I realized it's because Hitler's plans were all failing and those loyal to him were betraying him. Traudl always heard Hitler screaming and yelling at his comrades, but she still chose to stay with him when the Russians were invading Berlin. Though Traudl obviously idolized Hitler and loved him in a way, I personally think that she chose to stay because her friends were staying. She was friends with a lot of the other secretaries that Hitler had, and when they said that they wanted to stay, she as well also chose to stay, mainly following in the footsteps of Hitler's late wife, Eva. To continue on that, even though Traudl was extremely loyal to Hitler, the main mood throughout the movie is fear. Even though Traudl loved Hitler, she was still scared of him because she saw throughout the film just how much one thing could affect his mood. Every time there is a scene with just Traudl and Hitler, there is an eerie feeling, as though if Traudl wants to get up and run away from him as soon as she gets the chance. If you don't understand what I mean, here's a clip to show you.
Anhängerschaft hintreten kann. und dabei in diesen 20 Jahren an seinem Programm keinerlei Änderungen vorzunehmen brauchte. Ich würde sagen, das probieren wir gleich nochmal.
As we can see from this clip, Trottle is being chosen for her secretary job, but she doesn't mess up on her typewriter because she's nervous for the job interview. Trottle was one of the top secretaries in Berlin. We can assume this because why else would Hitler bring her in for an interview? So Trottle was obviously used to typing under stress and nervousness, but like I said, that's not why she messed up. She messed up because she is scared out of her mind of Hitler and how she could do one thing wrong and he could order her dead. The movie Downfall is very historically accurate. It includes exact dates, events, and names. This film is an accurate movie, not an authentic one, because of the way it focuses on being precise to the time period and events, rather than dramatizing things to better the film. One scene that can be seen as dramatized is when Hitler becomes enraged with his battle plans not being put into place. Here's the clip now.
Das war ein Befehl! Der Angriff Steiners war ein Befehl! Wer sind Sie, dass Sie es wagen, sich meinen Befehl zu widersetzen?
This scene is not seen directly from Trottle's point of view, but we can understand just how upset Hitler is. This scene can be seen as dramatized because even though the audience is aware that Hitler most likely did get angry in real life, this scene has added anger and emotions to properly get the point across and portray just how much fear these people felt in this moment, just because of how much of a toll this small thing was taking on Hitler. It was just one of his battle plans that didn't go well. He knew that he was losing the war, but he chose to take this failure and pit all his anger onto his comrades. And he continues to do this throughout the film. And we can see how historically accurate that was because Hitler, as we learned, was known to be a very short-tempered man, and the way that he was out of it so much during those last few weeks really did affect them not doing very well near the end of the war, like we've learned in 1302. Russia was a very big army, but Hitler had people in Germany with some of the brightest minds, but he was not. He was a very smart person, but during those last few weeks, he was just completely out of it. And I think that, yes, there was very many other things that affected them losing the war, but this was just one of the small details that really did cause a lot of chaos and panic towards the end of the war because so many people had pitted their hope into Hitler that when he started to get out of it, when he started to fail on his battle plans, and when those closest to him, his comrades, wouldn't even follow through with the plans, people could see that this war was not going as well as Hitler portrayed it to be going. This movie was definitely one of the movies I watched that I will remember forever. This movie was very sad, but furthered my understanding of Hitler and just how much of a manipulator and psychotic man he was. Throughout the film, we see just how much Hitler's psychoticness took a toll on these people. Like I said, we learned in 1302 that near the end of the war, Germany's battle plans started to get really off, but not only in 1302, also throughout my own research, because I really enjoy looking up on the Holocaust and just what went down. We can see that Hitler started to make these bad decisions. He was not in the right mind, and he actually married his wife Eva only a few days before they both decided to kill themselves together. So if that just shows you how many rash decisions this man was making, that is just one of the few. And though it didn't affect the war, it shows how much Hitler was going insane. To conclude, the movie Downfall 2004 is a very historically accurate movie, showing the way those around Hitler idolized him and that once he died, they had nothing, no one. Like I said earlier, we see the movie from Trottle's perspective, one of the only ones who didn't kill herself after Hitler's death. And viewers can wonder why. In my personal opinion from watching the film, I think that Trottle was one of the ones that did not put her entire hope into Hitler. Like I said, she did idolize the man. She did love the man, but I think she really stuck around for her friends that she had made. She was taking care of children, not for the whole entire movie, but near the end, she was a bit of a caregiver to these children. And I think that she still had some hope that she was a woman. The Russians were not just going to completely off her. And she was a secretary. She wasn't making battle plans for Hitler. And though the Russians were very ruthless, Trottle was able to escape. And I feel like she realized that once Hitler was dead, she realized that maybe there was hope for her. And I think once he died, she really did realize, I don't need him. She realized that she could have opinions of her own. And this is historically accurate because it is from the direct tellings of Trottle. Trottle is actually seen at the end of the movie Downfall, and she provided the filmmakers with a lot of this information, so we can see just how accurate this was. It also connects back to history ties because many people wonder psychologically what was going on in Hitler's mind, and just through this movie we get a closer idea of what it was like to be someone close to Hitler during this time and what psychologically was going on in his mind, because historians everywhere, the big question is, why did Hitler do it? And though we don't have an exact answer, Trottle really helped us throughout this movie to understand the psychological toll that Hitler was having on himself and those around him. So I hope you enjoyed my view on Downfall 2004 and just how it was historically accurate and what the historical thesis was, and I hope you enjoyed.